All right, all right, all right. Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Hope you're doing well. I think I'm live. Let's make sure that we in fact are. Yes, looks like we're good. Hope you're doing well this morning. I am doing well. Actually, it's been some frustration this morning with a bit of a busy morning. You know what's funny? I don't know if you know that, if you guys feel this, but I think we're often, from the demographics I see on YouTube, I see like most people are in the like 30 to 40 range. So you guys probably have families. At least you have people that are counting on you, maybe a wife or a husband. And so, you know, I don't know if I'm the only one, but one of the things I've noticed is that in my day is getting a good night's sleep is important, but actually getting a good night's sleep and having time alone in the morning is like even more important. So I would actually rather have less sleep and some time in the morning so that I can have like just quiet, a cup of coffee, read some scripture, or, you know, take a time, play a video game, like just time where nothing is happening and nothing's expected. I find I'm so extra stressed out and just like amped up when I wake up and I have to like go immediately out the gates, breakfasts, lunches, get the kids, go, you know. And that's what this morning was like. I slept in, I got a good night's sleep, but it was like a stressful morning because I actually out of the gates, like I had to go. I don't know if that's probably in big part like my personality, and it's one of the things I am frustrated about with myself and I'm working on. But I also think that's probably just people too. Like you know, when you think you deserve a certain moment in your day and something asks of you that time, it's hard, isn't it? You go to sit down and, you know, your partner says, "Hey, can you take out the garbage?" And you're like, "Oh, I just sat down." Yeah. Hope you're doing well though, guys. It's, even though there's that with my day, it's a good day. I'm lucky to be here, and I'm glad that you're here with me, and I'm hopeful that we can have a good conversation around Splinterlands. And man, crypto, dude, let's go. Let's go. Look at these green candles. Let's go. Bitcoin 97,876 according to Live Coin Watch. And I think 98,365 was the all-time high. So we're like just skirting that next level up. I don't know where this ride ends, but it is so fun to be on this moment. And we should really sit in that for this season, because this happens so infrequently that if you blink, you miss it. And even if you're not riding Bitcoin, I don't have a bag of Bitcoin right now, but this is exciting because this means something for the broader crypto market too. It already has. And my expectation that it would continue to mean something significant moving into the next days and weeks. My expectation, just an expectation, is that this would trickle down into altcoins, bigger altcoins and then smaller, over the next 90 to 120 days. That is founded on very little. There isn't a ton of fundamentals that I'm standing on when I say that. I just look at, you know, the last 4 years ago, I think April, May was like the top 4 years ago. And so, you know, if we imagine March or April is like the top of this, maybe May, you know, we're not 12 months out. And some people will disagree. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we go 12 months with Bitcoin surging into crazy new numbers, because that will have positive impact for the altcoin market. But in my opinion, that's less likely. Either way, regardless of which is more likely, it's exciting to think in this moment, like this is happening. We believed in it. We were here for a bear market, and now we're actually seeing green candles. And, you know, most of the tokens, let's see. Let's look at first page. 100, is there 100? No, 50 tokens on the first page. Look at all these green candles. There's 3, 4, 5 things in red on the 24 hour. Cardano, some XLM, and 4 tokens I don't know. So 6 tokens in the red on the 24 hour, two old school, and 4 I don't even know. And I would say that bodes well for most of our bags, right? This is an exciting moment, and if you blink, you miss it, because these things don't, the upward channels, the parabolic moves, the green on green on green candles don't last for years and years and years, whether it's days or whether it's weeks or whether it's months. When it starts, it goes hard, and then it pulls back. And at least historically, I mean, institutional adoption, that, I know that's the thing we think we look to, and we talk about, you know, Federal Reserve investment in Bitcoin from America, like a strategic reserve of Bitcoin. They might do that, you know, it may be. But I look at all those narratives that we've heard so many times, this country or this bank or that bank or this fund or that, you know, ETF or, you know, pensions or whatever. There's so many different narratives that we heard over the years. I continue to just believe that there will be ebbs and flows. There'll be ups and downs. And yet, because of the scarcity, because of the built-in programmed scarcity of Bitcoin and some of these other coins, and the functional utility, like the revolutionary power of some of these tokens, that, you know, the future is good. But that might not mean that in 12 months the price is higher than it is today. I don't know that, and no one knows it. But regardless, in this moment with these candles, it's so fun to watch. Every day I look at Bitcoin now and I'm like, let's go. Are we going to make it? It looks like we're going to push past 100. You know, we're up 4% today. We could push past 100 during this live. $100,000, a never before seen number, 6 figures for Bitcoin. People have talked about it for years, and it could happen today, right now. Oh, it's so cool. And it's been years in the making for we've seen. I've been here since 2016. I think it was the end of 16. Might have been, it was end of 16, September 2016. And man, 8 years almost. Is it 8 years? I guess September was 8 years. Wow. Wow, dude. Time flies. And, you know, the future looks bright. I want to continue to, even though I plan to look to sell things in this bull market, man, it's also exciting to think through like how I can plan for the next one, because I really believe there'll be a next one, and I want to be part of that in a bigger way than I am going to be part of this one. Paul, good to see you. Thanks for popping by. Eli, thanks for coming to hang out. Everyone is doing spectacular. The kids are off at school. Gregory was a sweetie when I dropped him off at preschool. He gave me a hug and a kiss, and it's nice to see him, you know, having fun. Actually, when I drove away, I saw him running with one of his friends in the little playground area, which is so great to see. Why not? Thanks for coming by. Good to see you. Oh, nice. I see your little image now that I'm zoomed in on it. You got the like original Darth Squirrel suggestion, I guess. 5 archery, 4 speed, 1 armor, 7 hit points. I wonder if that was that Bulldog's like original idea for what his card would be like. Man, I would love to get a card. I would love for Conclave Arcana to work out in such a way where I would be able to move forward in a big buy and be part of that, like an Infidel card in Splinterlands. You know, I actually prefer to go by 12. You guys know that. It's easier, it's quicker, it's it doesn't reflect, like, Infidel is kind of like to some people think it's a scary word, but that was my old gamer name from Infidel, from like my shooters. I used to play Counter-Strike. I used to play Counter-Strike all the time, and counter-terrorists, Infidel, that's where it came from. And yeah, but I think if I could make a move, if crypto worked out in such a way where I could make some, because I'm more bullish about Splinterlands today than I ever have been. Like, I'm so enjoying what's happening, and I am constantly now every day looking at how I could sort of find some other angle into some more. The problem is I can't. You know, I've bought $300 worth of cards or assets this month from fiat currency into new assets. I can't do that often. You know, I just can't. At least not until my crypto bags moon. But if they were to moon, that would open some doors, and I would love to reallocate some into here. So I was talking with my members only yesterday, and I've got a frequently asked question video coming out soon. Well, maybe not soon. Honestly, I've got like 5 or 6 videos queued up. I'll quickly show you just so you get a sense of what you can see the thumbnails at least. Okay, so upcoming content. I've got a frequently asked question video coming out, and in it, Gathering the Magic dropped a question where he was asking about like, what if I had $1,000 budget? Like, where would I go? And I don't want to spoil it, but because I think it's a really fun and timely conversation. There's so much changing. Chaos Legion moving out of Modern, Rebellion coming to. I think Rebellion will fill a bigger component of what it means to succeed in Modern. That conversation needs to be thought through. And then there's so many cards that you might not have, that you might want, certain abilities you're relying on as you play Splinterlands that you will not have once Chaos moves away. And so are there any replacements available within Rebellion right now? And maybe they're being overlooked and underpriced today, but in 90 days when Chaos moves away, or in 120 or whatever it is, when Conclave rolls in, there's going to be, I think there's just so much to think through. And I think this is a very exciting moment for Splinterlands. Forget about it. And then SPS too, by the way, which is now below a penny, but man, has been looking strong for the last 120 days. On the 90, look at that chart. Like, I mean, that's a solid looking chart. Sure, that's a bit of a parabolic little bump and then a pullback, but you know, we definitely could come. If we come and we fight against 1.1 and break through, I bet that's like another leg up into like that 2 cent range, maybe. I don't know. I don't have any sort of charts analysis skills, but just the way that looks, it does look like it soared up, and then there's some profit taking, and then there's a bit of a, you'd want to check and see like where the lower lows are. Like there's, is this going to be the new low? 962, because over here we had a low, where would be the last, like over here we're in the 8 tenths of a penny. Over here we were 7 tenths of a penny, and then we fought up and we got a new low of 8 tenths of a penny, and then we fought up and we'll get a new low. Hopefully it'll be above, 8 tenths of a penny, but I would argue even like 9 tenths of a penny would be even better, because this is kind of, I think we could see like 2 cents relatively soon, maybe 1.5, like something like that would be even huge, wouldn't it? So this is exciting no matter how you look at it. If you had any sort of investment money for something like Splinterlands, if you, again, not just from investment though, as I often say, I'm talking right now as if there's exciting green candles coming. I'm talking about the opportunity from a financial perspective. But for me, it always goes without say that financial perspective is actually undergirded or founded on the reality that the game is fun and I believe has a future. If those two legs don't exist for you, meaning you don't think Splinterlands is fun, or you don't really believe in the future prospects of it, the growth of it, the player adoption, etc., then there's a different, then really there is no financial opportunity. You need to have all 3 of those pieces. Otherwise there's no reason to be excited about it. But to me, obviously there is. And I think probably to you guys as well. Yeah, that's from Bulldog's own NFTs. Oh, yeah. I remember that. He made them, hey, and he gave them out to fans or something like that, if I recall correctly. Ultimately, I would argue, he undersold himself, hey? First of all, Darth Squirrel is a monster, and his Riskal Drath is a summoner. And then, 5-bomb archery is interesting, but man, Drath is good. I don't know if you guys, I know most people don't have Rebellion. And so I wonder if people really understand how good Riskal Drath is, but I can show you from some of my data. Let's see. Current month. What? Let's go, yes. Riskal Drath. 203 matches, 120 wins, 591 win rate. And I think that is undermined or let's say underperforming, because 1, I was learning it, and 2, I lack certain key rebellion pieces, and 3, I push as hard as I can and to play as high as I can. Meaning, last season when I finished in Champ 3 of Modern, I'm fighting off against people with everything, like all the toys, with all the bells and whistles. And so Grimbarden Smith and Rantaroth and, max level Venkas and on and on and on. Moxie and Rebels. Those are 4 cards that I don't have that are transform my opponent's ability to play. And I see my dad is not loading here with Drath, but Drath is a very powerful summoner, and I use Drath regularly. I think it's one of the best summoners in the game right now. It's in the conversation. I know that, as you broaden out into the wild format, you need to start to include some crazy summoners. Kitty and Tofu is obviously, I think clearly Tofu's in a league of their own. I'm not sure if Tofu's a cat or if Tofu's a girl or a boy, but yeah, I think first of all, I think generally speaking, these Rebellion Summoners are way better than the legendary Rebellion Summoners are way better than we currently understand. And that's in part because we're relying on things like Chaos Legion to fill holes. But it's also in part because not everybody has these cards, which means there's a smaller audience of minds actually thinking through how to maximally effectively use them. If everyone had it because they were cheap or easy to get, there would be more creativity around them to the point where the meta would develop faster and you'd find greater use cases for, I think, cards like Elias Pruitt. Elias Pruitt has like a 50-55% win rate by other people I see online, and with me slightly under. Riskal Drath 60% on average. Tofu like a 70%. Those are actually exceptional win rates. But I wonder if they would be even higher if Chaos wasn't so ubiquitous, where everybody has it and the meta is so clearly defined, but also where there'd be if there was a bigger reliance on these cards, more minds would come to creating the defined and clear cut meta. Maybe. Regardless, once Chaos moves away from Modern, I think these have to fill a bigger role. I know Conclave enters the picture at that moment, and they will bring out some new summoners. I'm still pretty convinced that these are going to be the backbone of the Modern moving forward, though, because you know what? It's so complicated. I'm in my mind, I'm like kind of flip-flopping on whether I think Rebellion will be the core or Conclave will be the core. And I can see pathways or justifications for either argument. In Modern, I mean, specifically. These cards are amazing. They are the ones we know best. Conclave will take time to learn. That's one of the arguments I would say that will push people towards saying Rebellion is the pathway to have greater success in Modern. We know it. We better understand it. It'll be the pathway. It'll be the stone we stand on to succeed in Modern. Not Champ 1 of Modern, because in Champ 1 you need to have everything. In Champ 2 you probably need to have everything. Champ 3 mostly everything. But I mean Diamond 1, Diamond 2, Diamond 3, Gold. You don't need to have everything. And you can get away with like a reasonable sort of depth of play. Some of that could be Soulbound reward cards, by the way, which if you're playing now, you're already unlocking, and that's pretty substantial in and of itself. But the summoner's perspective, I think if you could build your bag with some of these amazing monsters, man, the prices are crazy on some of them already. But if you can build the bag and get yourself ready to play in Modern, I think you can. Some people will move from like gold tier to diamond tier when Chaos moves out, because there's a big audience of players in Modern that are relying on that depth of Chaos, and maybe you don't have that. Well, you don't need it anymore. It's no longer going to hamper you. It's no longer going to be a thing you don't have if you don't have it. It'll be a non-presence. And then of course Conclave will be the next thing, and I do think Conclave will be relatively cheap in the sense of those beginner packs with the 25 commons and rares will be a pathway into a lot of cards that can maybe open a lot of playability and maybe new synergies and whatnot. I wonder though whether they will contain summoners, right? That's the question. Will there be common summoners? I bet not, because we know that there's Rebellion common summoners, and so it wouldn't make a lot of sense to me to do Conclave common summoners. They probably will do rare summoners, but then again they might not. And if they did conclave rare summoners, I think the team needs to think through the possibility that they might be overpopulating summoners. I know that Matt said those beginner packs that sell 25 cards in a pack for $5, I think was the price point. He believes they will not oversell. He believes, he specifically said he doesn't fear them overselling. I do. I actually think, especially if there's common summoners or if there's rare summoners that are really quality, then, you know, high performer summoners, I think those will get disproportionately sold. And so depending on where the meta lies in the card design of Conclave, are commons crazy good? Then of course those cheap packs that give you literally 5 times as many cards will sell. Are rares really good? Are summoners built into those packs? Those are factors that need to be thought through by the team while they're preparing the Conclave set, because those beginner packs that sold 25 units, 25 cards in one pack absolutely will sell greater and faster, and there's no limit on them, by the way. So that's concerning too, if those cards contained in there are potentially, you know, really meta or overpowered. And so I want good commons and I want good rares. I'm not saying make them bad. I'm just saying that needs to be thought through. If there are epic summoners in Conclave Arcana, which can't drop in those beginner packs, then you could just look at that. Just imagine that. That would mean a differing interest in those starter packs. Maybe that would be a good thing. It's worth thinking through. It's worth planning through. The team should be cognizant of that reality. And I would argue, if we don't want another Chaos Legion on our hands, we should make sure that the commons and rares, because of the starter pack discount, are not overpowered. They're not the meta defining components of the next set. They can be good, but the epics and the legendaries need to stand out as epics and legendaries. Not sometimes, like with Rift Watchers, we saw some of the rares were better than epic, and some of the rares could have been legendary with Rift Watchers. And if we do that again with Conclave, the way the packs are being priced and sold, I think we might run into problems. I think we might overprint, and I think we might see a Chaos Legion situation, Chaos Legion 2.0. Just to show my point, some of the Rift Watcher rares, Runic Skyclaw, amazing card. Let's go max so you can see really what these things can do. Runic Skyclaw, 5 damage, 6 speed, 4 armor, 6 hit points, giant killer reflection shield, snipe, and flight. This thing has big hit points, big resiliency. It's evasive as heck with 6 speed and flight. The giant kill just eats things sometimes, and so many times now we see big 10 mana monsters where this thing just goes ahead and drops a nuke on them, with the reflection shield making it so viable in those archery only rule sets when somebody tries to do the reflect damage or whatever it's called. So that's one example. I think that could be an epic at least, maybe even a legendary. Cabalist, it looks better than rare, I would say, with what it's capable of doing. Again, the giant killer and the demoralize with the 4 bomb and only 7 mana. Queen of Crows is another one I think is exceptional. This thing is a tank. It's got a close range. It's got, you know, headwinds. It's got the I always forget what this ability is called, but the throwing back archery damage and the slow. Everything about this with the amount of hit points, the speed, and the damage output for that mana is crazy. Boson is another exceptional one. Tinderlock's exceptional. I play it all the time. Those are probably my favorites from this, but I don't think those are equivalent to rare in most other sets. And my point, and that probably arguably happened because there was epic summoners on this edition. But my point is, you know, if this happens again, where the rares are exceptional, or look at the more recent Rebellion reward cards, some of the common cards are amazing. These are common rewards. Sometimes common cards can be exceptional, and I'm saying if that happens again with respect to Conclave, the team needs to be cognizant of the fact that these could be overprinted through those starter packs. This shouldn't be the main attraction. We have to make sure epic and legendary are the main attraction. Not that commons and rares are bad though, right? There's that balance. Bulldog's on some Web3 streaming site now called Party, which you can earn their coins for streaming and watching. You know what? I saw him post about that on X, And frankly, I looked into it, but I just looked at the website. I thought, oh, it looks like it's starting. It looks like it's just getting going. And it looked to me underwhelming and unimpressive. Now, I should say that, you know, if one was to move into a site like that and, you know, corner a market and grab, you know, attract people to it, I'm sure that could be really lucrative, especially since the as you say, they're paying some kind of party token or whatever to him and to other content creators for a period of time to sort of incentivize you to come over and try your best. For some people, that's going to be a real winner. But when I looked at the site, I was like, wow, this looks brand new. The quality of the content looks really questionable. Because I'm not quoting no one from Splinterlands, not Bulldog. I didn't see him there yet. I was looking at, it was like people playing Fortnite and you know, girls just trying to look sexy and play some game. And I go, oh, like, this is like a bad version of YouTube. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope ultimately that it becomes a very competitive and adopted website. But from my perspective, initially, and that's all it is, it's initially, it doesn't look like it's there yet. And so, yeah, I saw him post about that, and I considered it for myself. I was like, should I? Because I'm so into this right now. Like I could do more, but I just don't want to go. I'd rather stay with YouTube and create content here where I know that we have a large community. Plus, I'm trying to be really active on X. And there's a big Splinterlands community there too, like not necessarily content in the same sense as this, where we're going to have a conversation or we're going to show things or talk about, you know, different approaches to the game, but obviously within the context of conversation and maybe breaking stuff too. Nice. Jeff opens cards. Yes, 2 days ago. 30 SPS per win. Wow, that's so nutty. That's so nutty. Look at this. You have received 2,200 SPS for a recent prize payout. A recent prize payout. 16th place finish on the Mount Mox Modern Diamond Invitational. Wow, that's a crazy payout. Now, it's only it's $22, right? Penny per, roughly $22. Dude, that's awesome. Good for you, pal. So yeah, I do. X is very active, and I like going through it. And you're always going to remember where you were and what you were doing when Bitcoin hits 100,000. Probably the best plan for that moment, with the way things are going. Yeah, man. Oh, Dark Arborist. I just maxed out the Dark Arborist the other day. Somebody, I was like I think it might have been 10 or 15 BCX away, and I went to the market and just snapped them up. 40 cents a BCX or something like that. I know ultimately I'm going to get them later, but I just don't like some of those cards. I think they're that meaningful. They're that valuable. And I'd like to just get ahead of it and buy them off the market if I could. So that's what I did. But yeah, there is a growing, I think there is again a growing activity within Splinterlands content on YouTube, on things like probably Party, definitely on X. And I think that's going to keep bubbling up until we start seeing, you know, blow off tops for SPS and Conclave probably selling like hotcakes, and, you know, Rebellion cards probably appreciating in price wildly. You know, if this game sees something like it did before in 2020 or 2021, cards like Tofu will be thousands of dollars. It's too good. It's too powerful. 72% win rate. Like repeatedly played. That's like, just remember what happened with Kitty and cards like that, right? So, you know, there's exciting times coming. I personally won't benefit from the let's say the boon of Tofu, because I don't have one. I had 3 copies. I sold them all. 3 just didn't make sense to hold on to. It wasn't going to be good enough to let me be playable with it. And at the time I wanted to reallocate into, I think, Drath, to max out my Drath, and maybe also I might have used it to reallocate into Elias Pruitt, maybe. Pretty darn reason. Some of these bids are cheap, man. Well, I mean, cheap's in the eye of the beholder, but $12 seems very reasonable for a legendary summoner who lets you play 2 different splinters. So conceivably, if you got that bidded out in you $120 on your max card, you're going to be comparable to some of these comments. Like right now, if I want to get a max Dolfar, I think it's $120. Let's go and see. Look at that, $121 for this card to be maxed out with no abilities, or conceivably, again, you need to bid it out, but you could bid this thing out and just patiently wait and see what happens, and maybe get a max one for, 12 times 12, 144. Is that right? Or no, sorry, 12 times 11, 132. So for 10 or $11 more. And probably many of you don't want a max one. You want like a level 3. And so again, you probably could actually bid out 3 copies for a level 2. And Lorcas holding strong. Nidhogger coming down quite a bit from launch. It was closer to 30 at launch. This card I'm finding is very, very functional. Like I really do. I think it's fun to play with. I think there's so many different, there's really 2 distinct angles that give you 2 viable and exciting opportunities. The blast with is that death blow? I think it is. Blast and death blow is one, or the execute with the speed, which I prefer usually the execute with the speed. But I would argue, you definitely can make the blast work. And so it's not always is it the case where that's so. Like in my opinion, yeah, of course you can pick any from the summoners. I almost always pick, probably 7 times out of 10 with Drath, I pick I think it's called Impede and the True Strike. But, a fourth of the time I play the Taunt. So, and I think the same is true with Elias Pruitt. Most of the time, probably 8 times out of 10, I pick the Pierce with the Armor Strike, but occasionally I pick the Repair with the Cleanse. Over here, I mostly pick the Life Leech, but I probably 6 times I pick the Life Leech and 4 times I pick the Trample. Maybe it's 7 and 3, something like that. My point is that with these legendary summoners, there is a preference. There is a lane that's better. I find with these ones though, I guess I'm trying to say, I find it's not entirely, like they're both viable options. That's what I mean. Like the summoners are well designed in the sense that they're both viable options. I can't speak so much to Tofu because I haven't even rented it. I have tried Midhugger. I can't speak to Cryptic so much, but I imagine they would both be viable. That's the Expose. The Retaliate, I figured this Exposed Poison is probably way more interesting than probably Enfeeble and Retaliate, but maybe I'm wrong. From Tofu, I see a lot of people do the Scavenge and the Triage. You put a Grimbarn Smith back there with the Scavenge on it, and by the time it gets to the front, it's like 20 hit points with Repair, and it's just nonsense. It's and you can put Weapon Train on it too, right? So it's just like this crazy card. It's helpful to be able to do Divine Shield, but I do think Scavenge is the winner. Viable though, both angles viable, and yet one is, generally speaking, there is a choice that's often better. Hey Banana, it's good to see you, pal. Why not? It's not great, all right. Yeah, the new site, but you know what? That's the thing. Crypto social media has a way to go, and it might well get to a place. Like I bet one day there will be a Crypto X or a Crypto, YouTube that really grabs a foothold on the social media in the social media world. But it hasn't happened so far. And I think at least with Hive, like we look at Hive, there's a conversation to be had. Like with Hive, there's an opportunity to post. You can do blog, you can do vlog, you can do, there's lots of different angles with it. And there's dApps that are on top of it that essentially create different social media experiences like an X or an Instagram type vibe. But even though those opportunities exist, and even though there's financial revenue possibilities from them, it's not as exciting as being in the larger conversation. That's what people really want when they go to social media. Most people aren't going to social media to try and make $2 a month on a post, or in a good case for me, like, $12. And there are people that will become literally rich from this. People's Guild has been crushing it on their posts because they've grown an audience that love them in this space. And there will be winners that can access that, but I think most people don't go to social media because they think there'll be some opportunity for them financially. They go to something like X or Instagram because they just want to see content that they love. They want to see content creation. They want to participate in content creation and conversation with people that are like-minded. And that's possible on these blockchain replicas of mainstream social media. But the incentives are different. And so you have to be clear that when you go to blog on Hive, part of why you're doing it is definitely financial revenue. Like that is almost, it's got to be, maybe that's the lion's share of it. If you're being honest, because you wouldn't go to Hive where there's a smaller audience to blog, then, you'd rather go to Reddit, go to X, go to, there's a bigger audience, a bigger opportunity to be reached, to reach others. Like there's just, the only reason you would focus fire on something like this is because, one, there was a community of people that loved what you were doing already, or that was a niche within social media that maybe didn't exist elsewhere, but that's rare. Because, man, you go to YouTube and like you can search anything off the top of anything and you're going to find it. Like that's the crazy thing about YouTube. How many times does this happen to you where you got to do something like, I don't know, change your alternator, and you're like, okay, I'm YouTube, change alternator, Honda Civic 95 or whatever, anything, removing, installing a barn door, and changing your window blinds, like clipping your cat's nails. Like, I mean, man, anything you want is on that database, which speaks to the fact there's a community of people that are so broad you can reach them. And that's what people want. They don't really want the financial possibility because they don't see themselves as becoming something where millions will come to them. They just want to receive content, and they're not going to go to some niche little corner like Hive, even though Hive might one day crush it. They're not going to go to Party because right now there's a better thing with YouTube. And I hope one day that's not true, because I actually think these things can change people's world. Like, I think the revenue that's possible from something like this could change people's lives, and probably already has. But most people don't see that. And also there's that black eye from crypto. People still don't trust cryptocurrency. There's a suggestion or presumption that it's like for criminals. Of course, that's not accurate, or at least mostly not accurate. The biggest currency used by criminals is the US dollar, right? So it's not about criminal activity. It's about, it's about decentralization of authority and trustless systems. But most people would rather be plugged into the matrix, man. They don't want extra burden. They don't want to know their own. They don't want to hold their own keys. They don't want to understand private and public. They don't want to, you know what I mean? Like all that extra responsibility. They'd rather be just plugged in to the matrix where, Big Daddy government just takes care of them, pays their bills, and, makes everything safe. They don't want to think their financial future through. They don't want to understand topics like financial, literacy, like what is inflation, or why is it problematic that the government keeps printing currency, and what is it going to do for my kids' futures, and why is it a bad thing that housing prices, which I own a house, but why is it a bad thing that house prices are spiking and going to the moon? These things, most people don't want to ask these questions because frankly they don't want to rock the boat of what of the world that they're living in. So I think for all those reasons, I think blockchain social media will suffer until such time that I see cryptocurrency reaching a place where it's so obviously adopted. I mean, Bitcoin at like 1 million. We're talking like when Bitcoin starts rivaling the gold market cap. And I think the gold market cap's like 15 billion or something. What is gold market cap? 18 trillion. 18 yeah, did I say billion? I definitely didn't mean billion. 18 trillion. When Bitcoin is like 18 trillion, that'll be a different world where blockchain technology is so trusted, ubiquitous, everywhere, intertwined, accepted. The presumption of safety will be present, as opposed to the presumption of let's say, guilt or nefarious sort of design. And so Bitcoin will lead that conversation for sure. And that will be like right now I'm talking about social media, but man, this applies to Splinterlands. This applies to Splinterlands and blockchain gaming. Because blockchain gaming is under the same black eye or umbrella of, let's say, distrust. Because what do you mean I have to send money to some why do I have to pay so much money for like a card and it's like a digital card? I don't even own it. And I hear people who have card shops or who are interested in Splinterlands, but then they cannot reach people who are. I know at least 3 people who have some real world connection to collectible cards, stores that sell these things, or board games and tabletop board games. And you would think that those audiences would be interested or excited about what Splinterlands could be. But generally speaking, it's just doubt and anger and what are you talking about this illegal, terrible stuff for, that's the response. The response is not accepting or questioning or excitement or interest. It's doubt and denial. And so that won't change until those people receive the message from the broader zeitgeist, really, like the changing of that, general idea that most of the world holds. That's my opinion anyways. Oh yeah, Banana says, I've been enjoying Bulldog's stream on Party. It looks like he has a lot of viewers, but the chat is usually just a few people. That's interesting. That could be some. Oh man, I don't want to throw shade on Party. I don't know them at all, and they probably would never hear that. No one from them were going to listen to this. But just out of respect for people who created a thing, I don't want to crap on them. But that what you said there, Bananas, is suspicious, right? It's like, why would there? Because that used to happen on Instagram, used to happen on X, and then Elon bought it, X, and all that nonsense just stopped. Like certain fake accounts that were just chasing after, it was primarily left-wing sort of ideas and sentiment, would just disappear, dried up, and suddenly, so it's like there was an vested interest in making it look like there's a huge audience. That would be a concern to me, especially from a brand new site. I actually don't know if it's brand new. I'm gonna stop talking about it because I don't want to sound like I know what's up over there. I don't. I just had I heard what Bulldog said, and I did like a 2-minute look at the site, and I said, no, I'm not gonna apply, or I'm not gonna try and make a move or do anything with it. But yeah, I mean, from that broader conversation of Splinterlands being received and accepted on people like Magic the Gathering audiences, or tabletop audiences, or collectible card game audiences, most of those normies think this is some sort of crypto scam. And man, some of the players that are here playing Splinterlands would use that language. They say they're salty about what has happened in their time here, or what hasn't happened in their time here, and they would argue, yeah man, these cards don't go up and you shouldn't buy it, and I'm just here for SPS, and when the moon, I'm gonna leave. I see that type of sentiment. And yeah, so anyways, I got 12 Grimbarden Smiths, and they're all level 1A. That would only bring me. Why have I not leveled this up? If I had 2 more, I could go void. That would sometimes be helpful. The shield would be really helpful. We're talking another 27 copies. 28 copies. Yeah, this card's amazing, man. This is like a rebellion. Yes, it's a rebellion promo. Yeah. $0.60 on the Wardens, eh? This is one of those cards where I don't think. Yeah, not the one of the strongest releases. Let's say, the Impede is in my mind largely irrelevant. You know, you're not going to be disappointed that you got it, but it's the shining jewel here is the Shield Ward. The Pierce is obviously cool, and the 4 damage would be interesting, but you know, this is not a card that you say to yourself, it's going to stay alive for a long time. It's going to be a cornerstone. It's going to be a carry card. Your reason for playing it is the Shield Ward, if you play it at all. And I do play it. I wonder what my data... I don't think my data win rate on it is very good. Let's go. Let's see if we can find out. Nope. How do I not... Oh, that's I know why. I'm looking up Shield Ward. Mana. Yeah, there he is. Okay, so that's not as bad as I thought it was. 15 and 14 for the record. And I only have it at, I play in Diamond and Champion. And I play this card at level 3, I think. Which is interesting, right? But that is, I said it when this card came out. You always need to, and I've said it lots of times on the channel, but we need to, when you look at a new card that releases a promo or whatever, you definitely don't assume that, okay, I play a Diamond, so I need a Diamond Edition copy. There is lots of times where the abilities work in a way where you might only need what would be a silver level copy, which is crazy. And it might be a little bit of a card design mistake in some sense. But I think giving this Shield Ward, I know that's his whole thing, but giving it at level 1 might have been a mistake. Because frankly, this is the reason why you buy it. Or if you're going to give it the Shield Ward at level 1, you need to give it some ability at level 10 that is better than Pierce. For piercing, it's cool, but like this thing doesn't even have reach. And it doesn't have the hit points. And so I get it. There's so many cards being designed, and it's hard to do these things well. And it takes. I've got the hindsight bias, and I'm an armchair quarterback here, right? Like I'm like saying, oh, this card could have been better, and it was designed not the best ways. I would not do any better if it was me. If I was designing from the ground up, I would make all kinds of crazy mistakes. But as I look at it in hindsight, giving it Shield Ward at level 1 means that is the main ability that people are really going to want, and they only need 1 BCX. That card valuation will never hold, because people don't need 400 copies. And then also for the top level thing to have an ability that doesn't even really work in the sense of how you would use this, with no reach on this thing, the only way to make this Pierce matter would be to implement a flank. But then there's so many better monsters to put in the second spot. If this is your second spot monster, I don't like that. I only do in some with a taunt is where I'll do it. Like I'll put this behind a taunt monster, and then the taunt monster is that much more resilient. That makes some sense to me. But that's usually like a melee from any position, which is a niche consideration. So I feel like that one was unfortunately not the best. But there are some stunners lately. Like Eloy's the Hollow. Again, we're over 1.3. Much 14 hours left. Yeah, man, this thing is crushing it. Past winners. Look at these wins. Day 2, 1,050,000 is like the deal, isn't it? Good for you, brother. Brandon said he was going to try and pull like after day 10. He ended up getting day 2 when everybody was like sleeping. And then the price just like slowly started ticking up, and now it's been really holding in that 1.3, 1.4. I saw a comment the other day saying, oh, Matt got one. Good for you, brother. I saw the other day somebody saying that this card will not carry the one, like the average will fall well below by the end. I don't know, man. I really don't think so. Like if the suggestion is that the value will be under 1 million by day 99, I think one, you're denying that these buyers would be interested in a second, and I know for a fact they are. Azur Khan was looking at buying another one. Housewife has bid on other ones. I don't know about the other people, but I've seen those other people. And if we go back and we look at we can actually look a little bit at it and go from this bid right here. Bid history. Azur Khan tried to buy this one. Ghostly tried to get this one. So interested parties will buy more than one. And then also I would say that do we or don't we think that there's going to be a crypto bull market in this moment? Like, are we thinking that SPS will not pump? Do we really believe that SPS won't enjoy this crazy pump? I reject that thesis. But if you think SPS is going to go up during this bull market, then you have to understand that over the next 90 days, which that auction is still going to go on for another 90 days, roughly, we're likely to see some bull market green candles. And if we do that, people will throw around more money than they did right now. Buyers who can't buy now will buy then. Some people will be sitting on some altcoin that does moons, and they'll say, finally, I can buy my hello as the hollow. Or people like me will say, yeah, I can do it now. I didn't think I was going to be able to, but the timing works. So I think million is going to be the floor. I do. I think it's going to be the floor for all of the regular foils, and I think 4 to 5 million will be the price on the goldies. But then it says, okay, it would say 100 viewers, but then the chat is only about as active as a stream with 13 people watching. That's, yeah. Unless that used to happen with Splinterlands TV on Twitch. And that was, I think, because people would tune in for freebies. So I don't know if Bulldog was giving away free things, but that definitely happens when you give away free things. People just show up just to like wait for like, hey, we're gonna give it away now, and then they've got it in the background and they come listening at that moment. Paul, you're right. The other day, Paul, I was thinking about this. Yeah, I gotta do that. Gathering, good to see you, brother. The piercing definitely seems out of place at the level 10 ability for the Mana Warden. Yeah, piercing is a very powerful ability, but where would piercing be really valuable? Like, just imagine this for a second, guys. Like, when would piercing be an ability that you were so pumped about it, like that it really, really mattered? Piercing would be, in those contexts, there are contexts where piercing would be crazy powerful. Piercing is crazy powerful when the damage is high. When the damage is like, let's look up some piercing monsters. So piercing is the most exciting and the most interesting when the damage output is huge. So 4 mana, 4 damage output. Okay. 4 pierce is pretty interesting. If my opponent has a shield, I'm only doing, is it 2? 2 damage. Other, like Desert Dragon with the 6 bomb, Jared Scar with the 7 bomb and piercing. Those hits matter. Raging Impaler with the enrage and then the piercing. Mortius with the 7 bomb and the pierce. 5 in pierce, 5 in pierce, 6 in pierce, 5 in pierce with the ambush, by the way, or pierce with blast. So there's a kit of things that can come together that would make pierce really better. The first is a higher number. 4 is relatively low for the damage to be. Are we saying that this is an attack monster? Like, is that what we're saying? Like, we like this for an attack? I mean, well, first of all, it has only 6 hit points, even if it max, and I have to put it in the first position most of the time for it to attack that. Are we saying that it's a Little League specialist? Okay, maybe I could put it behind a Zenith Monk and put a shield on my Zenith Monk. I do that sometimes. But then you're sacrificing an attacker. You're using 4 mana, and it will not attack from the second position unless Super Sneak or Equal Opportunity or whatever So there's 3 rule sets that melee from any. So outside of melee from any, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't have the hit points to be a main tank. It doesn't have the damage to enjoy a pierce. It doesn't have the synergistic abilities that would really work well with a pierce, like a blast or a reach or a. And so for all those reasons, I mean, yeah, it's just, for me, it's a dud. But Hello is the Hollow is the opposite. And then we go into Legends, and, you know, I think these ones look great, both of them. I think they're both interesting in such a, I think they're both powerful. In fact, Mary Put Mossmender, support, power, Nefket, really, you know, this is a heavy hitter. This is the offensive magician over here. That 1-2 punch. This is the synergy that I'm looking for when I look at really cool monsters. When the abilities actually tie together in a way, they chain together in a way where you're like, wow. Knockout and stun? Let's go. Stun, knockout, and piercing? Wow. Because if you got just stun, that's awesome. That alone would be awesome because you got a 50% chance to stun with your archery, then a 50% chance to stun with your melee. That would be awesome. But then tack knockout onto it, and that if you manage to stun, that second hit can go for double. That's crazy. Then you add piercing on it, and the piercing can punch through the one armor, making that your theoretical 8 bomb melee damage land fully. That's nuts. That's synergistic. That's top tier synergy right there. Or buddy with the repair, which is going to be a cornerstone for the modern. There is no other repairs, man. There's 2 other repair monsters in the game right now that will be eligible for modern once Chaos moves away. Mary Put Mossmender is the repair solution for 2 different splinters. And then the cleanse is obviously always helpful, especially now that Expose is pulling things away from people. And then the Echo being able to double dip on that, like not just 1 repair, but 2. And so the kit is so synergistic. Like the only thing that doesn't make so much sense to me on this one is the dodge. Yeah. I mean, I love that it has dodge. Don't get me wrong. Dodge is so helpful, especially when you end up being like a smaller monster and you end up being, you know, you're a real support monster. You want to stay alive. Well, that dodge is great. I like it, but it just doesn't directly synergize with the repair or the cleanse or the echo, right? How crazy would this be if it had tank heal or triage? And if there's ever a tactic summoner that lets this have triage or tank heal, like watch out. If there's a summoner that provides tactics, tank heal, or tactics triage, and that summoner applies to earth, life, or neutral, or dragon, that summoner's creation will drive this card's valuation up immediately. Do you see that? Recognizing these things before they happen, I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm just saying, thinking about whenever you look at certain abilities and you go, wow, that would be broken if it had blank. Now you need to know that tactics could change that for you. And knowing that in advance would give you a corner on the market when like they go ahead and we see the Conclave summoners, and the Conclave summoner legendary has tank heal, triage, tactic. That would be nuts. And it's an earth summoner, or it's an earth life summoner, even better. That would be so nutty for this card. Mossbender would immediately be have to own it, period, full stop, max level right now, period. Price doubles overnight. Like that's the sort of thing that would happen once people realized what that new combination. And so you could do the same thing with any card really, but that conversation is most interesting when there's like a new ability that radically changes how the game mechanic has worked. Instead of 1 repair, you get 2. Instead of 1 cleanse, you get 2. If there was this card, if you could add an ability that would break this thing, I mean, it's already so powerful offensively. I think the limitation is going to be its speed and its ability to miss. So like True Strike would be really, really helpful, or extra swiftness, or, you know, But this doesn't have like a piece that if it had it, it would just go crazy. It's already crazy. To me, this having tankular triage would just be lights out. That's the thing I'm watching for now. Eli saying shout out to Gathering. Gathering, still looking forward to that video we chatted about, brother. He's going to do a video, guys, on Chaos Legion moving out of the Modern League, and then there's certain key cards you're relying on now. What are the new replacements that you can look for, and trying to lead you down that path sooner than later. So looking forward to that one. Gathering says, doing good. Can't wait for Friday to be over. I'm on vacation next week and can work on a few videos. Good for you. Man, it's just a common. Good for what it is. We can't have everything overpowered. You're right. This is true. It would be a mistake to expect every new card to be overpowered. That would be an error in the game design. Yeah. Piercing on a stun knockout monster would be insane. Piercing on a stun knockout monster would be insane. Oh wait. As I was reading the first part, I was like, but there is. And then yeah. Oh no. I heard a beeping outside my house, and I had a little panic because I thought it was Friday garbage day and they didn't put out the garbage yet. But we're good. Thursday. Gathering says new conclave rare life, or fire summoner with reach. Maybe a new summoner will give one ability instead of the expected +1 magic or 1 melee, etc. Maybe. You know, this is yeah. You know, it's hard to say. Conclave summoners will change the game massively. Of course, the monsters will too, but we have as a community relied on Chaos Legion in a huge way. And because those Chaos assets are going to be moving away, everything is going to change for most of us. I would wager out of 100 people playing Splinterlands, 3 of them have a full Rebellion set. I don't know how true that is. I wish I could just quickly check that. But when these cards roll out of Modern, you know, on the screen, these are the Chaos Legion Core, Promo, Reward 1, Reward 2, and Rift Watcher cards. When these cards roll out of Modern, the change is going to be felt in such a gigantic way. The Gladiator usage in rank, probably never again in Modern, right? Like we don't know that, but probably. Taunts are disappearing. The Fiends with their 0 mana debilitations gone. Grum and Jared Scar with Bloodlust, and Usat, like the Bloodluster is gone. Weapons, a lot of weapons train. Well, some good, really powerful ones. Soulbound reward cards that we recently unlocked. Iziar, amazing cards that are so powerful and important, gone. I don't know. There will be new things that will obviously fill the niche. But it's this radical movement in the feel and the experience of the game that is already beginning, because you already know what's leaving. It's important. We don't know what's coming, and we can do some speculation on it, as Gathering is pointing to there. But it's, you know, some of the questions that you can't answer, you just need to recognize you can't answer them and set them aside. Because you can focus in this moment on the questions you are able to answer, like, okay, we don't know whether they will be a summoner with reach, but we do know that we're going to lose X reach monsters, right? You can go and see if you play with the Black Splinter, if you play with Death, If you play with death right now, you're probably, and you're playing in a high level, you're relying on a lot of these cards on the table here. And if you're relying on these cards, you know, I was talking to Gathering, Curse Windiku is a card a lot of us use. It's a main tank. It's gone. You know what I mean? And now, who is your main tank? I'm only seeing now, how do I not have a Stitch maxed out? I don't use this card like hardly ever. Maybe that's why. Well, I'm not going to deal with that now. I must have a gold foil one. Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Because I was like, huh? Why do I not have... I have a max everything in gold in chaos. Except for golds. Not every gold. Yeah, it's an exciting time. It's a big change. It's monumental even. Tofu gives it. New Conclave Rare Life Summoner with Reach. Tofu gives it. I must be missing them because Tofu doesn't give Reach, right? Yeah. I'm not sure what you mean by that one. That's okay. These promos show where the team's mind is for the next set. I think why not you're suggesting that the promos like the legends that are quite powerful point you towards believing that the new Conclave will be really powerful? I'm not sure I agree. And I'm not saying I think they'll be underpowered. I think the promos, generally speaking, promos are usually overpowered. I think I could make an argument for that. That it's not really about the team moving closer and closer to overpower creep. I think it's actually a case where promos are generally speaking broken. Like let's look at legendary promos. We don't need the max button. Let's go alpha. These are alpha promos. These are just copies of existent legendaries within the alpha. So that's okay. Chromatic Dragon. Chromatic Dragon at the time was pretty crazy. For a dragon summoner to have 7 and for flying, enrage, piercing, and thorns. Enrage and piercing, by the way. Remember we talked about that? This card it's now not anything special, but at the time it was pretty crazy. Oh yeah. That was just a beta. Okay, we gotta just focus on the promos. I was trying to think of like promo, but I want to see it like from like old to new. Can I do this? Yeah, okay. So I'm looking at promos. The Shinlo is a promo from Alpha. That card's nuts. For 1 mana for it to do 2 damage, and there's literally 87 total cards in the game. I think there might be 1 or 2 of the gold foils. But then we go into beta. These are great. Corrupted Pegasus to this day is an exceptional tank heal on the death team. Tank heal, flying, reach, strengthen. It's such a good card. It's such a good card, even to this day, if you've played Wild. Lord of Fire. I used to have this card, and I sold it. I didn't think highly of it, but, then Jodin came around, and, just, this is such a, look at this. Strengthen, Silence, Affliction, Shatter. Like, what a crazy support. Silence, Strengthen, Shatter, and Affliction. Like, that is such a nice support monster. And it does a little damage, all for 3 mana. Minotaur Warlord. Look at this kit. Now it is susceptible or vulnerable. It has no shield or whatever, but it has blast damage with a 5 bomb, and for 8 mana. That's a huge damage output for 8 mana. This doesn't get a lot of play, and I'm not saying it's powerful today. I'm just saying these were, when they were released, for like people, like these were crazy. Red Dragon. Look at that, multi-attacker. This might maybe the first multi-attacker. 1 magic, 4 melee, flying, return fire, heal, and 11 hit points. That's crazy. Archmage Arius with +1/+1, Prince Julian was, I don't know. I don't, okay. 2 mana, but I'm going to say that yeah, that one doesn't fall into the same overpowered place, except for the 2 mana, sure. And the scarcity. Oh, and then I want to look at Untamed. Dricken was an Untamed. I always forget that. 1 mana with the Scavenge, Trample, Flying, and Enrage. On the rule set where this thing can get equal hit points and where opportunity, it can attack from a different position, that's a really good card. But the prices are ludicrous. And Chain Golem, I slept on this thing. I used to think it sucked, but it does not. Shield, Void, Piercing, Stun. So every level, every time, Blight, Constantia, Vega, Zyriel, maybe Waka, a little questionable. But would you say the average of these cards is that they are overpowered? I think that would be, if I had to say all those legendaries, would you argue within the context in the moment they were released that they were overpowered, yes or no? And you can't say, well, hey, this and hum that, and yes or no. You're going to say yes. On the whole, promos are overpowered because they're promo cards. They're supposed to draw excitement and attention and dollars. And generally speaking, yes, we've seen power creep in the different sets. If we move away from promos and we just try and look at, chaos versus older cards, you're going to see power creep. That's necessary and unavoidable. But I don't agree if your suggestion was that there's going to be huge power creep with the new Conclave set. I don't know if I believe that. I think there'll be some power creep. I think promos are what we're seeing the power creep in right now with those legends, and that is not a fair sample size because these cards are always overpowered, generally, historically speaking. I can't believe Rick Launamon is out now. What's Rick Launamon selling for on the probably still roughly the cost? There's only 1,200 BCX of this card. And it's so good, dude. Oh, I wish I could have bought that one. But why? How is this thing already, it's less than it sold for? It was sold for 50,000 DC a unit. And you had to buy 11. Or buying 11 gave you a max. But right now I can buy for essentially a 10% discount on that. I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't know if I would want... Oh, yeah. This is such a good card too. Expose is so helpful. The double strike so helpful. The ambush, crazy. The charge, this kit is synergistic. I don't see any... Gathering says, I don't see any Rebellion or even Rift Watchers in Bronze or Silver Modern with my alt account. Okay. People are in for a big shock soon. Will they play Wild base 5X? So they don't have any Rebellion. Yeah, they're going to be stuck playing Wild. Yeah, I mean... And then what will happen to rewards in Modern, right? I think that necessarily will go up. Until such time that we start seeing SPS spike, because I think that'll happen too, and it might be at the same time. Because if SPS is spiking, that'll drive attention to the game, new player ingress. And if so, there'll be an equilibrium. Maybe we'll lose some old players from Modern into Wild, and we'll gain some new players into Modern because of the FOMO from SPS prices. That might be a possibility. Eli says, for reals, I can't wait to see how it'll all shake out when Chaos Legion rotates out Gathering. I'm also going to make a video on new teams with just Rebellion reward cards for Silver League. Yeah, that's the other thing too. If there's a piece of advice, I hear Gathering saying, it's think of this stuff through, guys. There are cards that you rely on right now if you're playing in Modern, and they will disappear. And what are you going to do when they're gone? Do you have a replacement in mind? But the other piece that I was just thinking about as I read that was the reward cards the reward cards themselves, they're being handed out for free by play. Like, are we sleeping on? Are you playing the game right now? Like, are you leaving energy on the table every season? Probably most people don't bot. Well, because like most people aren't playing in. Well, if you're playing in modern, you're not botting. But if you're playing in modern and you're not playing all your games, then you are leaving glint on the table. And if you're not getting paid for the glint, you're not getting those reward cards. That matters, man, because those cards are not available on the marketplace. And so, you know, the preparation to set yourself apart in the new modern that will come when Conclave launches is twofold. The first part is understanding what you're losing and how to replace it. And some of that will be buying cards. Some of it will be earning cards. And the second piece of the preparation is to actually play the game now, invest your time and attention now. You should have been doing it months ago, but now, start now if you're not using all your energy. Get that glint, get those Soulbound reward cards. They will separate you from the new probably incoming herd of people that are going to rush after green candles. And they will think, I'll throw money at it because my bags went green elsewhere. I will chase after success here with money. But many of these assets that will set you apart are not buyable. You want a Warborn Chieftain? Here's 2 copies. Hope that's enough for 10,000 new players. 2 BCX. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that these markets are like they're just so thin. There's nothing there to be sold or bought, rather. Yeah, these cards are amazing and powerful, and you have to play to earn them. You have to invest the time and attention. It's not, you can't throw money at this stuff. Like, yes, money will help you, but there are certain places where the answer is just put in the time or you don't get it. And I love that about Splinterlands. I love that. It's one of the best things about this game. Let's play a modern battle. Okay, Thorns. We're doing it. This is my favorite play, and it's gonna be gone soon. Coral Lurker. And we need a blind. I have 2 blinds on my team. Soulbound reward card Soriel the Bale. On a higher mana play, I will use that one, or I'll use Spirit Hoarder if I, but actually here too, this works too. And sometimes green isn't available, but if you can, that's nice, because if they bring a Shatter Shot, I'm getting a chance at a Martyr as well. And then we need some swiftness or slow. And this one's a bit concerning because of the 1 damage. Sorry, 1 hit point. Probably Supply Runner, but hang on a second. Hold on. I want more. Slow. So this way I got 2 modifiers. I got Udric, the Elder, and I got Scavo Chemist, which is 2 speed modifiers instead of the 1 speed modifier that was available with the Supply Runner. But here's the problem. My damage output is Coral Lurker, Fungus, and Blackmoor. With maybe Udric, I guess you could say, is like a little damage. Not very much. I do feel like I'm a little sparse, and I don't have any tank heal. I do have a tank heal on the green team. Oh yeah. I forgot about Goblin Psychic. That might be worth doing. That might be worth doing. Okay, here's what we're doing. We're getting rid of 2 of my speed modifiers, and we're bringing out Salitha Toledo. That gives me another archery damage, which is 2 archery damage, and it's a tank heal. Let's see how it goes. And then my opponent, he's got Giant Kill over here, which is super annoying if he hits his shots. I have Flight and Dodge, which is a 50% evasion. He has no snare. Killing the Dr. Blight is something I often do. But I think we just go ahead, because he is blind. I think I just need to make sure my shots land. Yeah, let's do it that way. I need my shots to land, and more than I need to do a taunt. Impeded was huge too, by the way. That one speed differential matters. Okay, that was a big everything, most everything missing. I'll finish him off. The force field protected him. He could nuke me here. Okay, I should be fine now. And Salita Toledo putting in work. This is one of those cards that I need to upgrade for this kit to continue working. My Risk Eldrath is one of my main winners in this game. If I'm going to keep letting it be my winner, I'm going to keep succeeding with this summoner. I need to amp up my Salita Toledo. That's a preparation I need to make for my future protection within Splinterlands. And I can get more damage from it. I can get more utility from it. I can get a lookout from it. And why would a lookout matter? Because it greatly reduces the damage incoming to my taunt. And yes, I will in the future, I will no longer have a Coral Lurker. So you might think, well, why do you care if you have a lookout with your Salita Toledo? Why do you care if you have a tank heal? Because you're not going to be even doing the Coral Lurker play anymore. But remember, this summoner lets me put taunt on anybody. And so there will be a phase tank that's substantial. There is even one actually already in the Soulbound reward cards, which is the Warborn Chieftain from the green team. And so when this thing has 8 hit points, phase, shield, phase and shield, and I put a taunt on it, we're getting into, and we have flight on it, by the way, right? We have flight intrinsically because of my summoner. I can replicate something of this. And maybe there'll be a new one within Conclave Arcana that provides either an intrinsic taunt or a dodge with a phase would be crazy. You got to see the holes that are coming. That's the best way to prepare for them. Gathering says Skink will be the new meta water tank. Cheap than Spade and get phase at level 5. Slade. Okay, so Skink will be the new meta water tank. I think I know Skink, and I think I agree. Cheaper than Slade, Commander Slade, and gets a phase at level 5. Let's quickly look at that. So you're talking water, and you're talking, is it a reward card? I think it might be a reward card. Okay, so melee. So Alpine Skink at the lower level, first of all, like at level 1, this is a fine tank for bronze. 6 hit points, 2 armor, shield, decent speed, and decent output. Commander Slade at level 1, 5, 8, 3, and 4 is great. Like these are both strong tanks at the bronze level. And then when you go into the max level, I can't do it here because there isn't enough supply, but the max level, this card gets really good at even, wow, it gets like this. I love this card. I use it all the time. Backfire, man. 7 armor, 10 hit points. And you can use, this card is so great because I can use it with Elias Pruitt and give it armor strike. And 7 armor to start with before any protects, hits like a truck. And so this card's amazing. It's fast, it's evasive, but you're probably right. Skink is maybe the better main tank because of the shield and the phase. And the stun's great too, but this is the defensive capacity that you need from your tank. And then reasonable hit points at 9. You get 9 at level 8. So, healable, fast, 5 speed. If you bring a blind or if you can attribute dodge or flight to it, then those are things that will radically transform its evasiveness. People can just buy packs. You mean they can buy Rebellion packs for now, right? For the next 30 days. Very, very soon they can't. And I don't think the Rebellion packs, like I looked at this the other day, just the other day, and there's not a lot of Rebellion packs available on the peer-to-peer marketplace. Like $350 is the price on the peer-to-peer marketplace, and you can buy 100 under that price point. And look, there are, if I go back, there are 353 packs on the peer-to-peer marketplace, and they get up. they get up to $3.90, like before, like after 200 packs or something like that, 250 packs. That's not a lot of packs. And if somebody wants a big set of Rebellion, they need to open like probably 2,000 to 4,000 packs. That's just not available unless you're going to the marketplace, unless you're buying them right now from Splinterlands. And that door is rapidly closing. I think, Alex, your comment suggests that that door is not closing. And I think you're actually in a majority of people who are currently acting and thinking and behaving as if cheap Rebellion cards will be here forever. I actually am increasingly inclined to believe Rebellion packs are not going to be cheap, and that these cards are not going to be affordable and accessible, and that a lot of people are going to say to themselves, I thought they would be cheap like Chaos was. Chaos Legion was $4 and now it's 30 cents, and I thought that would happen with Rebellion. I don't see why it would. We've lost the players we were going to lose. The bull market is here. New players are going to come when the SPS price follows the bull market, and all of that trend implies higher Rebellion assets. Mind you, Conclave could come out and be so broken in its design that you almost don't need Rebellion. I don't believe that's probable, but you might think that's possible. If it happened, you might circumvent owning Rebellion because it's conceivable that through beginner packs, Conclave access to Modern would allow you to circumvent this critical set. But I think that's probably not likely. And so I think people who are acting as if Rebellion would be accessible to the masses beyond 30 days from now, I don't buy it. Like, how do you think that's even, like, where does that come from? There's 687,000 packs remaining, and that's if you start buying them now, like, because they get burnt and sent to the Dow. So it's just not, it's not the case. Ivan, good to see you, brother. They aren't, though, and packs will be gone in a month. That's right. Packs in the secondary market is like there's practically none. There's practically none. Honestly, man, if you bought 300 packs today, you would move the market. And by the way, 300 packs doesn't even guarantee you like one legendary gold foil. Like people who, like I say, 2,000 to 4,000, even 10,000 packs is what people need to like start really building out their pack. I opened with Chaos Legion, I opened 10,000 Chaos Legion packs, and I had a max of everything. Not every gold foil, but a max of everything. So like 5,000, 6,000 packs is what people need, not 300, man. Like, it's not going to move the needle. Do you want a bronze deck? Sure. You want a diamond or a gold deck? Nope. No way. It's not there. They don't exist. You buy them now from Splinterlands, or you're never going to have them. And you might argue the only way I'm wrong on that. There's two possibilities. One, Splinterlands is going to fail, and something with the team or the game it's going to collapse. In which case, whether or not Rebellion went up or down is irrelevant to the holders of Rebellion, because the game itself is the bigger issue. Or two, Conclave is crazy. It's broken. It's so insanely overpowered. Rebellion is an afterthought. And specifically the commons and the rares from Conclave are broken. If so, you access easy cards, cheap cards through Conclave beginner packs. And those are the two only circumstances or possibilities that are leading to anything like what you're saying, where Rebellion isn't going to appreciate, or is going to be easily accessible, or maybe isn't going to matter. And otherwise, I just think you're wrong. I cannot see a third option for how Rebellion would be easily accessible at a later date. It's really now or never. Unless this game doesn't have a future, in which case, set aside the conversation around Rebellion and let's just talk about that. Wild can't 5X because there aren't that many more people in Modern. Wild can't 5X because there aren't that many more people in Modern. I'm not sure. I can tell you're talking about player movement and the returns over there, but I don't know exactly what you're saying. Off to work. Good to see you, pal. Have a great one. Stay the course. Keep on forging. Have fun. Eli says, cheers. Why forging? Forging is a reference to Splinter Forge, but it's also just a reference to like putting in effort while other people are sleeping to scratch and claw a little more reward for your time and effort. I've been playing Splinter Forge more recently, every day recently, and I'm earning, you know, some Forgium, and then that can theoretically be sold for some rewards like DC. You can actually turn it into DC, and so that's what he means when he says that. I've actually turned on Immortal Creed again. I've been fighting Immortal Creed. And this season I've had more time to do these things because I accidentally turned on my Xbot for Splinterlands. And so I have had more time than I did last season. Last season I played every single match in Splinterlands within the modern. This season I haven't been able to do that because I bought a wild pass to play for fun by myself. I wanted to play the games. And I didn't know my Xbox was on, and it just ripped through like 35 energy in a moment. And so no melee weapons. Let's go archery. I think the future looks bright for blockchain-based gaming, and I'm excited to diversify what those efforts look like. I don't necessarily talk about it very much here, but I'm playing Splinter Forge, I'm playing Golem Overlord, I'm reconnecting with Immortal Creed, and I would like to get into, what was that game? I heard about that shooter game that oh man, it's like a AAA game too. I'm interested in getting into more, but time is a resource and we only have so much of it, so whether or not I can actually do it is another thing. Nice. Got him. 21 Valor. And Valor can be used to open packs. And so you can play to earn packs and then you upgrade your cards. But it takes time, man. You got to put in the time. Ivan says, Dwayne, if Wild did not have bots, would you play Wild instead of Modern? That's a fun question. If Wild didn't have bots, I would be more interested in playing in Wild, personally. I currently play, I regularly play in Wild, except for last season. I regularly play in Wild, but I let my bot play in Wild because it's hard for me to play all my energy. So I turn on the bot and let it play like 15 matches a day, and I play 10 a day in Modern. And that's usually what I do. But last season I played all my games in Modern. That's more fun. But then again, it's not so fun to play all my games in Modern because I'm not as good as I get. Like, I'm not as good as I can. I can reach levels that I can't really win half my matches at. Like, I can get into Champ 3 in Modern, but I don't really compete with a lot of people there. And so I maybe I lose for 53% of my matches there. So what I'm saying is I have fun in both leagues and I wish I could play both, but I have zero interest in playing in Wild when I just keep running into bots trying the same thing. So short answer to your question is, if there was no bots in Wild, I probably would play Wild more often. Yeah. But I think there's an interesting conversation there around like whether or not the complete elimination of bots would be good for the game. On one hand, I want to say like a resounding yes. And on another hand, those are people with money that they are putting into setting up things. And in the past, that caused tension and tightness on the marketplace, whether it was for SPS or DC or cards. Ultimately, it had more negative ramifications than positive. But you can see that it's not a just bots bad situation. There's a multifaceted conversation. And as we look forward to the evolution of what Splinterlands is going to be with respect to survival mode or hardcore mode, I think we've seen the team say different things that probably tell me that hardcore mode is going to be more for the whales. It's not going to be for the average player. And that might be an avenue where people who want to put in like $100,000 into cards, $1 million into cards, could do it automated and receive reward. I think that's probably what they're thinking. It's going to require deep decks, huge investments, and there probably will be automation, I bet. And so that's my prediction. And that's my comment on bots. Alex's bots for the win. So Alex, you're not buying Rebellion then, or Arcana? Skink gets phase early, yeah. The early phase very helpful, especially in silver leagues or wherever it gets it. Like to be low level and to be able to dodge sometimes. If you can bring one blind, it will matter. Ivan said Stever had Commander Slade to reveal it. He revealed Commander Slade and said it's total crap card, lol. Yeah, no, I think he got that one wrong. I love Stever, but Commander Slade is a solid card. I play it a lot. Let's look at my data. I don't know if I shouldn't say I play it a lot. As I say it out loud, I'm starting to think, I bet it's going to be 50 matches. Commanders. Okay, only 22 matches. See, that's not a lot. 22 matches on my Commander Slade and a 4.55 win rate. I'm really surprised that it's that low. All this data tracking is going to be so interesting to follow once Chaos moves away, because there's so much reliance on things that won't be. But I definitely think Slade is a solid tank. And then also the thing about Slade too, even if it isn't, brilliant thus far, when you look at, we look at water, we look at monsters, we look at melee. These are the cards available to you from the blue team. Sea Dog of 8 could be a tank, but it's not quite as good as either of those, I don't think. You could say Chaos Rearguard is a tank, but it's slow. And so I really think Skink is probably the winner, with Slade being number 2, Sea Dog of 8 number 3, Rearguard number 4, in terms of tank potential from a melee perspective. And you could do that with every Splinter. It's fun to do because these are the new modern. Like, what are you going to do? Who's your tank on the fire? Chaos Golem? Drybone Megalodon? Well, if it's Drybone Megalodon, you better start working now because you got to earn it. You got to earn Drybone Megalodon. And that's the thing, too. If we go back to water, Slade if you think Skink or Slade are going to solve your problems from the tank perspective on the blue team, you better start playing now. Because if you don't get it from play, you ain't buying it. There's no copies on the market. And we already pointed to how these Rebellion cards are the same deal. Very low supply, very few packs available. Prepare now or you're not getting Rebellion. That's the thing. I think he doesn't mean people can buy packs Rebellion at Arcana. Yeah, okay. Like, meaning Alex was talking about essentially you can get Arcana. Yeah. And that's why I said if Arcana is crazy, like really powerful, and you can just circumvent Chaos, then so be it. But I don't really believe that'll be the case. I think Rebellion is going to hold a powerful piece of what modern success looks like. Also, why not just play Wild? Who says you need Rebellion then? Yeah, if you want to move. So the thing with Wild, which we alluded to a moment ago, it's like moving into Wild isn't as fun, mostly. Because playing against bots is annoying and frustrating, but it's fun in its own way and at its own time. And so I don't hate it there. And you're right. Lots of people will just say, I'm not going to buy Rebellion. I don't care about Conclave Arcana. I'm just going to play in Wild now. They will. I think a good amount of people that are currently playing in Modern will move to Wild because of the movement of Chaos. They'll become Wild players. That will affect the Wild returns. They will go down because more players will be playing in Wild, and then the returns in Modern will go up because fewer players are playing there. Then simultaneously something will happen with the bull market for SPS, and if that transpires to new players, the whole thing gets shooken up again. Gathering said a number of players in Wild might have 5x as Chaos Legion is out of Modern, but that can't happen because Modern doesn't have that many more players. I see what okay, got you. I think he was saying when he said the 5x thing, I think he was talking about the multiplier available to you in wild from for like a 50,000 SPS, because he and I were talking the other day about what it looks like to have like the average player having like a 50,000 SPS bag. I'm pretty sure a 50,000 SPS bag is a 5x multiplier in wild. And if that's the case, then that's going to be a lot of people. That's $500 worth of SPS. That's going to be a lot of people. And so I think that he was saying like you're going to get less rewards in wild, because there's more participants and because you get the multipliers are different. Alex says, I'm going to buy into the new set if they have enough sales to cover their operating costs, last until the next run. Yeah, that's a valid sort of flag to raise. It's like yellow flag on the field. You're like, wait a second, how are we doing as that? And we have a town hall today at 4, guys. Watch that town hall. That's a big one. That town hall will be one of the most important town halls that we've ever had. Think about it. Splinterlands right now is about to remove Chaos Legion from the Modern. We're about to introduce Conclave Arcana. We've got a bunch of legends. We've got this amazing Heloise the Hollow, which the sale is crushing it. We've got, the bull market is in full effect, and it's been teasing Splinterlands with the SPS price ticking above a penny and then falling back down. The excitement of this moment is so pronounced, and I think we're on the verge of something. I really mean that. I think for a long time I said this is like a game that will reward you across time for your time and effort in trivial ways, and it does. And that should be your focus. But in my mind, the setting is laid for like a short-term excitement. It's not because of what Splinterlands did or will do. It's because of the broader conversation around what crypto is doing. Bitcoin, there we go. Another new all-time high, 98,767. The all-time high, 98,777 now. It's up 5% today. Ethereum's up 11% today. XRP, let's go. $1.23, let's go. Guys, this matters to the impact of Splinterlands. Like these coins succeeding, the top 10 thriving, will trickle down into other things. And we saw SPS above a penny, and over the last 90 days, it's just been up and to the right. These things and this moment is important and special. Enjoy this moment. Take it, be excited about what you're seeing. Watch the town hall today. That is the biggest town hall and maybe the biggest moment for Splinterlands, possibly in its entire history. And I really mean that, because the coinciding of it with what is happening in the broader crypto market and this broader crypto moment is so important. If they tackle the next few weeks and short months well, they can grab on to the exuberance. There we go, 98,810, brand new all-time high right now. We might punch through 100,000 right this minute. And the idea that this is just another town hall, or that this is just any other moment in Splinterlands history, is so wrong. This is absolutely crucial to get right these next 3 months, 90 days to 120 days, in my opinion. How we move away from Chaos Legion, how we move toward Conclave Arcana, how we, address the closing of Rebellion. What are we going to do with the Mage Wagons, and how are we going to reintroduce? Because remember, we're going to use the Mage Wagons with respect to Conclave Arcana to determine how airdrops happen, and that's going to be a utility and a usefulness from Rebellion cards. So there's so much happening. New legends coming, new promos coming. The Mana Warden is moving out, and we're going to see a new voucher promo card coming relatively soon, we think. Land updates. There's so much going on. This moment is so crazy important. Another new all-time high, 98,859, 98,868. We are right there. We are right friggin' there. This is nuts. Guys, this is life-changing stuff happening in front of us, and this will have ripple effects that affect the blockchain-based game that we play and have played for years. Those assets you accumulated for free through your time and effort, soulbound reward cards that are now going to be relatively scarce, whether it's the Chaos Legion ones, which are scarce because of how few are unlocked, or these Rebellion ones, which are even more scarce because they're relatively brand new, and the multiplier on the unlock is so expensive right now. This is such a crazy moment. Another new all-time high, 98,972. We're going to go through 100,000 right now. We are going to go to $100,000. This is so insane. I remember hearing about Bitcoin was like $100. My buddy was like, hey, like this thing looks cool. It's pretty interesting. He bought some, wrote it up to 1,000. He wouldn't shut up about it. And I was like, dude, like, okay. Like, so I looked into it and I started realizing what crypto was, what Bitcoin was, you know, trustless systems and free from, you know, it can't be hacked, and it's the perfect money, and then just broader conversation around economics, which is such a passion of mine now, and learning about scarcity and what the government does with money and all of that nonsense. 99,000. This is crazy. And I remember Bitcoin was at $3,000, and I was talking to my wife then, and I go, babe, like, I think I'm going to take out my RSPs, all my money, all my life saving. I'm going to take it out and put it in crypto. Like, and she's like, what? And where? And why? And I just remember being so, like, I'd studied for like 100 hours, maybe 200 hours of learning about this stuff in that moment, because I was so convinced that there was something in front of me that was special that I needed to put my finger on, or I needed to either deny or grab onto. If I could deny it and put it away, fine. But I needed to wrestle it to the ground and say, is this meaningful or not? And I did with everything I could and every moment I could, studying and learning. And it's like, no, this matters. And so I made that move. And man, it's been the beginning of like a new life for me with respect to crypto. Now, I made all kinds of mistakes along the way. That wasn't the story of like how I became rich. That was the story of how I made a million mistakes after that, and pissed most of those wins away. Because yes, I bought in at 3,000 and rode to 20, but I frittered away so much of it in a million mistakes I made. But I ultimately didn't give up. I recommitted to what I knew was revolutionary. Blockchain-based video gaming, blockchain generally. I'm still invested and I'm still doing great. And I think this bull market is coming to a head. I don't believe that we're 12 months away from greener candles. I don't believe personally that we're 18 months and we're still going to see Bitcoin crushing every day 5%. I don't buy that. This feels like blow off top stuff for Bitcoin to me. You may disagree. But if my tokens follow, XRP and SPS and Splinterlands assets follow in a meaningful way, you know, going Bitcoin having, look at this thing, 160% in the last year, 46% in 30 days. Or if you scroll out and you look at what else, what about Doge, dude? Look at Doge. Look to the doggy. 400% on a year, 180% on 30 days. Like, if your coin starts doing this kind of thing, stop talking to yourself about 12 years and, or, you know, in 12 months, it'll be X, Y, or Z millions. If you got life-changing wealth opportunities in front of you, take advantage of them while you can. I've seen candles go green, and I've seen wealth evaporate in a moment when they turn red instantly. And so for me, I'm so excited about this. But I am under an expectation, or I'm presuming that this will come to Splinterlands. Because we've survived for 6 years, because we've fought through bear markets, because our product is actually entertaining, because it's fun and rewarding. There's so much good here in Splinterlands, and I think people are yet to see it. And when they do, these green candles come to us. And if it happens, I will be looking for opportunities to realize some of that opportunity, realize some of that gain. I don't want to watch my Splinterlands card assets go to over 100 grand again and then come back down to 20. I'm not about that. I'm okay with watching things go, and I'm going to take opportunities to remove some assets. That's my view. And I don't have an explicit plan on that, but I would be willing to sell up to 66% of my SPS depending on certain targets. I would never sell it all. But if we go up to 10 cents, I would want to sell some. If we go up to 40 cents, I would want to sell a lot more. And, you know, if we got into $1, I would sell some more. I don't think we're going to get to $1. I don't really think we're going to get to 40 cents. But I do think 10 cents is very plausible. And I want to realize some of that opportunity, that financial opportunity, if those targets are ever reached. I bet we're going to make 100,000 today. But right now it looks like it's slowing down. I wonder what would be a reasonable level of summoners to be in a gold rating in the modern right now. If, for example, level 5 or 6 common dual summoners may be okay. I think I can't answer that question because I don't play in that league. But if you go, you can go into Splinterlands and you can come into rank play. Let's go into leaderboard. Not leaderboard. Last season. Go top battles, gold. Level 8, level 8, level 4. These are the top battles, so mind you. And look at their 1900 is, so gold requires 1900 rating. And these guys are at 2700. So they're like tippy top goldies, but they have everything. Could you fight in low gold? I bet you could. I can tell you from a diamond perspective, I play diamond modern most of the time. And at diamond 1, like look, these are the diamond top battles. These are the best diamond players. And they all have, they max everything. So we'll look max Grimbarden, max Avena, max everything. But in diamond 3, you can there's what might be considered gold level cards, level 6s and level 7s, missing some key ones. So I bet the same is true with gold. So if your question is, could I get away with like reduced cards in gold? The answer is yes, but like in that gold 3 range. Can you get away with reduced cards in diamond? Yes, but in that diamond 3 range. And the same is true for champion. I reached to champion 3 and I don't have some really key cards, and I get hit, I get smacked around a bit, but I can get there. And so you can fight in gold with like a high silver deck, but it's low gold. And that's generally speaking the rule of thumb. What is your current selling point for SPS and what percent of selling 5 cents, 10 cents? Toro says the boys calculate SPS could hit 25, 30 cents at the bulk peaks. I have a big bag at half a penny, but I plan to sell it to keep it until 25 cents. I already been selling crypto. Good for you, brother. I meant level summoners. I'll circle back to add on to this idea, Ivan, in a minute, but I want to just kind of touch on this for a second. What's your current selling points for SPS? This is not advice. This is just my plans. I do not know anything at all. I have no way to say that these are reliable suggestions, but just as I look at SPS, I'm like expecting it just to turn on and watch Bitcoin just boom. It's going to punch through, man. It's going to 100. It's going 6 figures today. But SPS, I mean, it used to be $1. That was when it was brand new. And so that there was almost no circulating supply. And so that is like really hard to rely on. And yet I do think one day we get there again. It's almost, in my mind, you eventually get there, test it, probably fall back and go above it eventually. That might be 3-4 years away. That's my long-term perspective for Splinterlands. That's truly possible. If this game's fun and if it has a future and if the game's designers, have good intentions that they can actually execute on, all of that has to be real for these suggestions to be real. But I think it's absolutely plausible to imagine that the token across years, 4 years, 5 years from now, could be in the next bull market, assuming there's another crypto bull market, could drive SPS to higher highs. That seems plausible. A part of me expects that to be real. But for the meantime, in this moment, I go, well, we fell from all-time highs of $1.26 according to Live Coin Watch, but I remember seeing it at $1. It might have been $1.26 for like a second, but it was like $1 for, like, look at this. It was $1.26 for probably like literally 2 minutes. It was 94 cents at 7:50 p.m. and it was a buck 26 at 26 minutes later, and it was a buck 10 4 minutes later. So I mean, like, for 1 minute it was there. So really it was like, you know, not $1 for a day or two. And again, there was just not enough supply is the thing. But then as we go forward, 88 cents was touched again. We bled out, and this is so common that you bleed out and bleed out and bleed out across a long time. And then there starts to be a floor somewhere in there. Like, oh, I'm going to try and grab. We bleed out, we come to a low of, and then we come back up, and we come back down, we come back down, we find the low. This was the low, 0.5 of a penny and below. 4.36 portions of a penny. 0.4 of a penny. That was the low of lows. I think if you imagine, oh, I got messed up. If you think of that as the bottom, and you say a 10x multiplier on the bottom brings you to 4.5 cents, 5 cents. That's a 10x multiplier from the bottom. That to me feels really attainable. I think a 20x multiplier bringing us to 10 cents feels very attainable. A 40x multiplier from the bottom bringing us to, what is that? 40 times half a penny is 20 cents. Feels, I wouldn't be surprised at all. At all. So now, between 5 and 20 cents, I'm feeling degrees of confidence, because I looked at where the bottom was of the token, and I've seen them build a foundation from that place, and we've been climbing up and to the right since then. And so I'm not giving you any fundamentals really. First off, I said, do you believe that Splinterlands is going to be here for a long time? Do you think it's fun and has a future? If so, that's the foundation you start with. And then I go, well, based on the chart, which is just essentially to some people just reading smoke signals, you know, it previously touched half a penny. And what if we said 10x that? 10x from the low is 5 cents, 20x from the low is 10 cents, 40x from the low is 20. You could imagine 100x from the low. That's not, like, some coins will do that. That happened in 2021 to Doge, I think. So it happens, but I don't really feel that's likely. So, and you always have to, those are the thoughts I have about price. And then you have to bring to that, you have to test all of those things I just said. All of it. Is it fun and has a future? Do those targets seem reasonable, logical, attainable? And then if you think they are, you have to know that none of those price targets are promised to anybody. And so, and how much are you in for, and what's your risk tolerance? And, you know, do you need money right now? And, you know, what's your life like? All that brings you then to a place of, well, if we make it to 10 cents, I would sell a good bag. I have 330,000 SPS. If we had made it to 10 cents, I probably would sell 100,000 SPS. If we made it to 20 cents, I'd probably sell another 100,000 or 50,000, something like that. And if we made it to 40 cents, I would probably sell like another 50 to 100,000. So now I'm bringing myself down to like 100,000 SPS ish. I would want to stay above 100,000 SPS. And that's probably untouchable. That last 100,000, like if we made it to $1, I wouldn't sell it. If we made it to $5, which is so insane, I don't believe it's possible in this cycle. Even still, I go, I probably am not gonna. I don't know. I mean, no, I don't know. Maybe I guess, yeah, I can't put my head there because I don't really think it's possible. But 5, 10, 20, even maybe 40 cents, I do think is within the realm of possibility this cycle. And I don't have any proof for you. I'm not making promises. This is definitely not financial advice. These are my thoughts from a guy who played a video game for 6 years. And that's, if you're going to take that advice, recognize who you're listening to. But you wanted to hear what my thoughts were on how I'm going to exit. And that's what I would start around the 10-cent mark. 5 cents. If it goes to 5 cents and falls, I'm going to miss it because I just don't care. Like it's not meaningful enough to me. But if we make it to 10 cents, that's going to be meaningful. Like I could sell 100,000, I could sell 10 grand worth of Splinterlands tokens. And I wouldn't necessarily move it out of Splinterlands. I might buy Rebellion cards with it. I might buy Conclave cards with it. And then at 20 cents more, and at 40 a lot more. And then I would sit on the rest until hero or zero. Ivan, I don't think I would sell below 10 cents. I don't have any interest in selling below 10 cents, but there are other things to think about too. Like, for instance, familial costs, like real life expenses. My daughter needs a wheelchair van. We have a wheelchair van, but it's super old and then we're hoping to add another child to our family. There would be house renovations. There'd be car expansions. So things could force my hands, but from a perspective of like where I actually think things are at and where they're going to go, 10 cents to me feels like the place to start going ahead and saying like, let's put some money, let's realize some profit to me. You know what, guys, I'm going to leave it there because my throat's starting to hurt. It's already 11:30. I think that's 2 full hours. Yeah, I started at 9:30. But you guys are awesome. And thanks for hanging out.